It is ridiculous to downplay this. This is potentially among the most widespread fraud schemes ever in the history of the United States.
Fresh outrage over allegations of widespread fraud of taxpayer dollars in the state of Minnesota.
Well, it does seem to be in response to this viral video.
It's fraud investigation targeting the state's Somali community.
And mad because he's shown the paperwork of this business being registered as a business.
On the surface, it's just a rundown building in Minneapolis. Boarded windows, locked doors, snow piled high in the driveway, untouched for months. But on paper, this is a bustling childcare center, a sanctuary for nearly 100 children. And for the last 3 years, the federal government has sent them checks totaling nearly $8 million. It was supposed to be a safety net for kids. Instead, investigators say it became a license to print money. A scheme so brazen, so obvious that even a kindergartner could see the fraud. But the empty buildings are just the symptom. The disease goes much deeper. While tax dollars vanished into these ghost centers, one Congresswoman's family wealth was quietly exploding, surging by a staggering 3,500% in a single year. Websites scrubbed, assets hidden, and a trail of legislation that opened the door for the biggest fraud in pandemic history. Today, we're following the money all the way from the snowy streets of Minneapolis to the bank accounts of the Washington elite. This isn't just about local corruption anymore. Now, the House Oversight Committee and the Small Business Administration are launching probes into what some are calling the largest theft of taxpayer money in a generation. To understand the scale of the theft, you have to go to the ground. Independent journalists recently walked up to the Quality Learning Center in Minneapolis. The sign says they are open from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m., licensed for 99 children, infants, toddlers. But looking inside, there are no toys, no lights, no kids, just silence. Yet since 2019, this single location raked in nearly $8 million in federal tax money. State records show this facility was cited for over 120 violations. Missing documentation, safety hazards. Red flags were waving everywhere. But the checks kept clearing. They even took out $200,000 in PPP loans during the pandemic. Loans that were completely forgiven. And this wasn't an isolated incident. It was a franchise of fraud. Drive around Minneapolis today and you'll see it everywhere. Autism centers. Transportation companies. All with snow piled up in the driveways, proving no one has entered or exited in weeks. Representative Tom Emmer put it clearly. If what they are saying is real, they told Tim Walz about the fraud when it was happening. He not only ignored them, he retaliated against them. Whistleblowers claimed they tried to stop it, they flagged the suspicious billing, but instead of an investigation, they faced retaliation. The question is why? To pull off a heist of this magnitude, estimated now to potentially top $9 billion, you need more than just a fake storefront. You need the rules to change. Enter Congresswoman Ilhan Omar and the Meals Act. In March 2020, she championed legislation sold as a way to feed hungry kids during the lockdowns. It sounded noble. But critics and investigators say the fine print removed critical oversight safeguards. The legislation allowed the USDA to waive standard requirements, meaning you didn't need the same level of verification to bill the government. Suddenly, verification was optional and billing was on the honor system. While Governor Tim Walz's administration claims they were working for years to crack down, the money spigot remained wide open. It became an open secret in the Somali community that starting a daycare and billing the feds was like getting a license to make money. But here is where the story shifts from local corruption to national scandal. While the fraud ring was operating in her district, strange things were happening to Ilhan Omar's own finances. In financial disclosures filed in May 2025, Ilhan Omar and her husband Tim Minett revealed a net worth that had surged by an estimated 3,500% in a single year. Estimates now put their combined value anywhere between $6 million and $30 million. This is a massive jump from just 2 years ago when they reported a maximum net worth of only $158,000. Where did this sudden windfall come from? It wasn't a congressional salary. The spotlight falls on two specific entities, a venture capital firm called Rose Lake Capital and a winery called EST Crew. Let's talk about Rose Lake Capital. In 2023, Omar reported the firm's value was negligible, between $1 and $1,000. Just 1 year later, She valued it between $5 million and $25 million. That is a growth rate that defies market logic. And when journalists started asking questions, the cover-up began. The Rose Lake Capital website was suddenly scrubbed. The names of employees, including former ambassadors and DNC officials, were deleted. Why purge the details of a company that just made you millions? What business was Rose Lake Capital doing that generated such explosive wealth exactly when billions in federal aid were being misappropriated in Omar's own district? Then there is the winery, Esti Crew. This business was previously described as a failed venture and was inactive. Yet, in the latest disclosure, its value jumped from nearly zero to between $1 million and $5 million. This is despite the winery facing lawsuits from investors who claimed they were swindled out of hundreds of thousands of dollars. How do two failed or negligible businesses suddenly generate up to $30 million in value in the same year that a massive fraud ring is uncovered in the owner's backyard? Representative Chip Roy put it bluntly. Their net worth went up 3,500%. How do you explain that, and then talk about the scrubbing on the website? That doesn't look good. The connections go even deeper. Reports indicate that Omar's campaign received thousands of dollars in donations from individuals who have since been convicted in the Feeding Our Future fraud scandal. While she claims to have returned the money, the deep ties between her political machine and the figures at the center of this fraud are becoming impossible to ignore. The unseen planet of fraud is finally being exposed. The House Oversight Committee has launched a formal probe. The Small Business Administration is investigating the reckless loans given to these fake centers. And the FBI, under the direction of Kash Patel, has surged resources into Minnesota. They are calling the current arrests just the tip of the iceberg. The Department of Homeland Security is now involved. Funds are being frozen. And for the first time, there is talk of serious consequences beyond just fines. Reports indicate that deportation proceedings are being initiated for those who exploited America's generosity. The open secret is over. The $200,000 loans, the ghost children, the boarded-up windows, it's all coming down. But the biggest question remains. Will the investigation stop at the storefronts, or will it follow the money all the way to the 3,500% surge in Washington? We are Insider Doc's world. We follow the paper trail where the mainstream media won't go. If you want us to dig deeper into Rose Lake Capital, the scrubbed websites, and the connections to DC, hit that like button and subscribe. The truth is only just surfacing.